Have you ever wanted to climb a very, very big mountain? Or maybe go to a part of the world you've never gotten to go to before? Or maybe you're curious, just how cold is the North Pole? Is it really as cold as we think? It is in the frigid zone. What is something that could be helpful in finding those different places? In our lesson today, we're going to be making you'll just have to read about it and find out in just a little bit. But if you were wanting to go to those places, you could use this to help guide you along the way. But God so beautifully designed our earth. It's so different in many different ways. There are parts of the world that's flat. There are parts of the world that are very mountainous and hilly. There's a lot of different diversity in the beautiful creation that God has made. So let's dive into that a little bit more in our lesson for today. Let's look at the screen as we see several important words to watch for. I need your eyes here ready to go. William, stand and help me by reading the first column of words, please.
Landform, North Pole, South Pole, Equator, magma.
Good. And then read the second column for me, Monroe.
Bedrock, compass, ocean, continent.
Good. Now, let's take a look at some of these specific items. You're opening up your science books too, page number 83. Let's get the fun started. Row 4 is preparing to read as we take a look at a new chapter. We're looking at chapter 4. It's entitled Exploring the Earth's Surface. There you see a very, very hilly area in the background of that picture. And then look at the little blue box at the top. Above the words Earth's surface, it says, how God designed Earth with beautiful landforms and unique features. Let's get started reading about these beautiful designs.
For the Earth's surface. The surface of the Earth is unlikely any other planet in the universe. God designed it with beautiful and unacquired feature or parts.
Unique. That word is unique. Go back to God designed and read the sentence again for me, please.
God designed it with beautiful and unique features. Features or parts. Here we find a
that's a long I.
Variety of bodies of water as well as the landforms. The shape or landscapes.
Good, you may have a seat. Ivy, continue.
Our Creator displays his artwork and beauty. His artwork and beauty of the world around us. Just like an artist begins with a canvas, God forms the foundation of earth with his word. On the third day of creation, he separated the seas from the dry land.
Thank you, Ivy. Let's take a look at what the Bible says together. Not only did God separate the seas and the dry land on the third day, but he also made plants. We know that God created the earth in 6 days and he rested on the seventh day. So let's take a closer look at a few verses in Genesis chapter 1. Let's read what the Bible says together. Ready? Begin. The Bible says, "And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good." Genesis 1, 9 through 10. On what day of creation did God create the plants and separated the dry land from the seas? Adrian?
On the 5th.
Not the 5th day. We just read it carefully. Tia, did you remember that day?
3rd.
On the 3rd day. You're now turning over to page number 84. Royan's coming at this time to read those terms to remember for us.
Equator, the imaginary line around the Earth between North and South Pole, bedrock, the layer of the rocks below the subsoil, apart the Earth's crust, magma, hard liquid rocks, compass.
Compass.
In
Instrument.
instrument that uses a magnet needle to point to north.
Good. Let's talk about the shape of the earth as Lucia comes to read.
The shape of the earth. The earth is shaped like a ball or a sphere. A globe is a sphere with a map on it that can help us understand what our planet is like. Use a globe to find these places. The North Pole is at the top of the globe, while the South Pole is at the bottom. The imaginary line around the Earth halfway between each pole is called the equator. The Earth is silently flattened at the poles. However, this is hardly noticeable from space. The poles are the coldest parts of the Earth, while the equator is the hottest because it is always closest to the sun.
Thank you. You may have a seat. Maybe in an arithmetic class you've discussed different types of shapes, and one of those shapes is called a sphere. A sphere is a solid shape, which means it has dimension or depth to it. It has height, it has length, and it has width. So here we have an example of what our Earth looks like in a globe. There are several parts of our Earth that we're paying very close attention to. The globe is in the shape of a sphere. On top of our Earth, we have what's called the North Pole. Say the North Pole.
North Pole.
And then underneath, we have what's called the South Pole. Say South Pole.
South Pole.
Now, as we get closer to the North and the South Poles, it will flatten out just a little bit as we get towards the top. This imaginary line that runs around our Earth is called the equator. Say that with me. Equator. Now, at the North Pole, it is very, very cold. And at the South Pole, it is very, very cold. We've talked about climates in our class, and we know that they're a part of the frigid zone because the frigid zone is always cold. But as we get closer to the equator, we can see that the sun is directly hitting the area around the equator a lot more than that of the North and South Pole, because those areas are in the climate that we call the tropical zone. So they're very, very hot. Let's take a closer look at the structure of the Earth. What makes up the Earth that we have? There are several different layers of it. Maybe you enjoy eating cake, and maybe you like having a cake that has many layers. When you cut into it, you have cake, more frosting, cake, and more frosting. Our Earth is layered in a similar fashion. So let's take a closer look at each of those parts. Row 2, you're preparing to read at this time. Tia, would you read the structure of the Earth?
The structure of the earth. Let's imagine we could explore deep inside the earth if we were to cut it open to find out what was inside. We crust, the mantle.
That's a short A.
Mantle.
Good.
And the core.
Thank you, Tia. Let's take a look at our screen to look at a chart that we have here. So, just like a cake, you would cut into a cake and you would see all of those layers that are on the inside of it. There are 3 layers that make up the Earth as well. The outer one is called the crust. Say crust.
Crust.
The middle layer is called the mantle. Say mantle.
Mantle.
And the inside layer is called the core. Say core.
Core.
Now, I have some very helpful things to help you remember which one is which. Do you also enjoy eating pizza? Give me a big smile if you like pizza. Maybe you're thinking of what your favorite toppings are on your pizza. What do we call the outside portion of a pizza? The extra bready part. That's called the crust. The crust is on the outside of the pizza, just like the crust of the Earth is on the outside of the Earth. It's the outermost layer. In the middle of the Earth, we have the layer called mantle. Say mantle.
Mantle.
What letter does mantle start with, Brennan?
M.
It starts with an M. What letter does middle start with, class?
M.
So mantle is in the middle. Hopefully those will help you to remember where those are located. And if you can get those two down, then you can remember that at the center is the core. Just like your body, the center part of your body is called the core, so is the center of the earth. Those are some helpful hints as we continue reading. Let's take a look at what each portion or layer of the earth is responsible for. Renoa, would you read that at this time?
The crust of the earth is solid rock. The top layer of the crust is called bedrock. It is what we find below the soil. The mantle is found between the core and the crust. Scientists believe that mantle is made mostly of solid, hot, dense rock. The mantle also contains hot liquid rock called magma. At the very center of the earth is the core. The core is very hot, very, very hot.
Would you read this something to remember also?
Something to remember. The earth's structure. Crust, the outer layer of the earth. Mantle, the middle layer of the earth. Core, the inner part of the earth.
Thank you. You may have a seat. So as we look at each layer of the earth, the crust, just like a pizza has a crust on the outside, is the outermost layer of the earth. There is a special part of that called the bedrock. Say bedrock. Bedrock. When you look at your paragraph, it says that the bedrock is the top layer of the crust. You will find that portion right under the soil. So that is very close to the surface of the earth. We are standing on the surface of the earth, the outermost part of the crust. That top layer of the crust is called the bedrock. Say bedrock one more time. Bedrock. Good. Then we take a look at the next portion. The middle is called the mantle. When I say middle, you say mantle. Middle? Mantle. Middle? Mantle. But did you notice something that makes up the mantle? Another word that starts with the letter M. That word is magma. Say magma. Magma. Magma is a very, very hot liquid rock. Rock that is heated to be so hot that it's in a liquid form. Can you think of what magma may become whenever it erupts from something? Let's see if you can think of it, Brennan. Lava. So as we get further and further into the Earth's surface and we get closer to the core, the hotter the Earth is going to be. So in the mantle we have what's called magma. What is that hot liquid rock called, class? It's called magma. And then we have what's called the core. The core is the very center of the Earth, just like your core is the center of you. It is very, very hot at the core of the Earth. We'll see later that nobody's been able to reach the core of the Earth, as those temperatures are very, very dangerous. Let's take a look at our chart. As you look at your book or at the chart, let's label each of these portions, starting with the crust. Ready? Repeat after me. Crust. Crust. Mantle. Mantle. Core. Core. Crust. Crust. Mantle. Mantle. Core. Core. Now you're looking at the bottom of page number 85, where we're going to see how the earth is divided. God created the earth in 6 days, and on the third day he created plants and he separated the dry land from the seas. So let's see how much of our earth is covered by water and how much is covered by land. Come read for us, Adrian.
Seas and dry land. From space, the earth looks like a blue sphere. It is blue because 70% of it is covered with water. There are 5 oceans on Earth: the Arctic Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and the Southern Ocean. There are several large land masses called continents on the Earth. Can you find and name them using a globe?
Thank you, Adrian. You may have a seat. So as we look at the globe, hopefully you've got to do some geography skills in your history class, and you've been learning about these continents and oceans. So we know that there are 5 oceans. If we look at our globe, we can find them. This is the Atlantic Ocean. Say Atlantic. Atlantic. Arctic. Arctic. And as we keep coming around here, we have the Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean. And we keep traveling around. We have the Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean. And then we also have the Southern Ocean. Say Southern Ocean. Southern Ocean. We have 7 continents. Repeat them after me. Asia. Asia. Europe. Europe. Africa. Africa. North America. North America. South America. South America. Australia. Australia. Antarctica. Antarctica. As you look at the globe, do you see how a majority of it is blue? There are a lot of land masses called continents, but if you were to look at the Earth from space, you would see a lot of blue. That's because 70% of the Earth is covered with water. Let's take a look a little bit further at what the Bible says. Would you come read what the Bible says, please, Ashby?
The Bible says, "In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strengths of the hills and his also. The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land." Psalm 95, 4-5.
There's not a place too high or too low on our earth that God's hand cannot reach. Let's look at the comprehension check on the next page. You're getting out a pencil, ready to go. Let's fill in these answers. Let's label the sections of the Earth's structure. What is number 1? Beside of, what portion? Kendrick, what is that?
Crust.
The crust. You're writing crust on the line. Number 2, what's number 2 pointing towards, Brennan? The mantle. That's M-A-N-T-L-E, mantle. And number 3 is what portion of the earth, William? We have the crust, the mantle, and the core. Let's take a look at number 4. The blank is the hottest because it's always closest to the sun. What makes that statement true, Amory? The North Pole is very, very cold, and it's far from the sun. It's way at the north, so what would it be, Monroe? The equator. Good. Number 5, magma can be found in the core, the crust, or the mantle. Think of that hint I told you about, Grayson.
Crust.
Remember, M for magma, M for Mikkel? Mantle. Mantle is in the middle, and you can find magma. 3 M's there. Number 6, bedrock is a part of the Earth's what, Timothy?
Crust.
Crust. And number 7, there are 5 blanks on Earth. Alana?
Ocean.
Oceans. Let's take a look at the fun fact together. No one has ever seen or been to the center of the Earth, but scientists believe there's something very magnetic there, probably iron. The Earth's magnetic poles help it to act like a giant magnet. This is why a compass works. A compass has a needle that has been magnetized. It will always point north. Let's look at the something to try. Come read the something to try for me, Isaiah.
Something to try. What you need: scissors, needle, paper, magnet, pen, bowl of water. What to do: use scissors to cut the paper into a small circle. Label N for north on the top, S for south on the bottom. Rub the needle on the magnet into the direction for 1 minute. Thread the needle into the paper with the needle point to the and carefully place the paper circle on top of the water. Watch as the needle moves. It will point to north.
So here I have the tools that we'll need to complete this something to try. I have a small circle with an N and an S, meaning the North and South Pole. I have a small container of water that we're going to use as we magnetize this needle to make a compass of our own in class. So I have a needle and a magnet, and for 1 minute I'm going to rub that needle on the magnet to see if we can make a compass. So it may be difficult to see, but let's take a look and see if we can get a closer look. So I'm going to continue rubbing it. Isaiah said to rub it in the same direction for 1 minute. So as we rub it, remember, the Earth has what scientists believe something to be very, very magnetized. That's why a compass can be able to help us find the direction that we need to go. A compass will always point to the north. So whenever we put our needle into the water, after we've magnetized it, if our something to try can be proven, we should see that the needle continues to move in the north direction. So we're going to go for just a little bit longer, maybe just shy of a minute. A few more seconds to see if our needle is magnetized enough to make a compass. Let's see if it works. So So we're going to take our needle and the pointed portion that I just rubbed against the magnet, we're going to thread it through our piece of paper so that the needle is pointing to the north. I'm going to place the piece of paper in the water. Let's see if the needle begins to move. So as it's floating there, it's moving ever so slightly, and you can see, hopefully, that the paper is beginning to move a little bit as that needle is trying to point. You're having a seat so we can all see it, pointing to the northern direction. As it begins to twist, that needle is finding where that northern direction is. Students watching, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this experiment. I look forward to more science fun with you later.